Once upon a time, in the cheerful, sunny village of Giggleton, there lived a little bunny named Benny. Now, Benny was zoomed like all the other bunnies who loved to hop and nibble on carrots all day long. Oh no, Benny had a very unusual and wonderful talent. He could blow the biggest, most sparkling, most beautiful bubbles you have ever seen. But Benny had a little problem. A funny little problem. Whenever he tried to blow his amazing bubbles, they always popped in the silliest ways imaginable. Sometimes a bubble would drift down and tickle him right on his nose, making him giggle so hard he'd fall over. Sometimes a bubble would land perfectly on his head like a shiny, wobbly hat. And sometimes, oh dear, they would float away with his precious carrots tucked right inside. One bright, beautiful morning, as the sun peeked over the rolling green hills, Benny had a truly brilliant idea. A magnificent idea. He twitched his nose and declared to himself, Today, I'm going to blow the biggest bubble in the whole wide world. He wanted everyone in Giggleton, from the tiniest ladybug to the tallest giraffe, to see it. He even dreamed that maybe, just maybe, everyone could float inside it like a giant, shimmering hot air balloon. He could already imagine the gasps of wonder and the happy cheers. With a determined hop, Benny set off to gather his special, top-secret bubble ingredients. First, he found the shiniest, clearest water from the babbling brook. Then, he gathered his super-secret, rainbow-colored soap that smelled like strawberries and sunshine. For stirring, he chose a big, sturdy spoon from his kitchen. And for the final touch of magic, he picked a single, sparkly feather that had fallen from a bluebird's wing. He poured the shiny water into his biggest bowl. He added a few drops of the rainbow soap. Then, he dipped his boggly feather in and began to mix and stir and swirl. The mixture fizzed and foamed, glowing with all the colors of the rainbow. Benny took a deep breath, dipped his bubble wand into the magical potion, and blew with all his might. Pop! The bubble was tiny, barely bigger than his twitching nose. But Benny didn't give up. He knew that great things take a little bit of practice. He tried again, taking an even deeper breath this time. Pop! Well, this bubble was a little bigger, but it floated right over and landed gently on Mr. Snail's head. Mr. Snail, who was enjoying a slow morning stroll, looked very surprised to suddenly be wearing a wobbly, iridescent hat. Benny giggled, but he was more determined than ever. One more try, he whispered. He dipped his wand deep into the mix, took the biggest, deepest breath he had ever taken in his whole life, and blew whoosh. This time, something was different. The bubble grew, and it kept growing until it was bigger than Benny, bigger than his house, bigger than the tallest tree in Giggleton. And before he knew it, the giant, sparkling bubble gently lifted Benny right off the ground. Benny floated higher and higher, tucked safely inside his magnificent creation. He waved his paws to all the villagers below. The children and animals stopped what they were doing, pointed up at the sky, and began to clap and giggle with delight. Look, it's Benny, they shouted. Benny felt so proud, floating above his beloved village like a king in a crystal carriage, but soon, oh dear, a gentle breeze began to push the bubble away from the village square. It floated over the fields and drifted straight towards the Wiggly Woods. The trees in the Wiggly Woods were tall and twisty, and the squirrels who lived there were, well, they were very, very curious. The bubble bounced gently between the branches as Benny floated deeper into the forest. Soon, a family of playful squirrels spotted the giant, shimmering orb. They chattered excitedly to one another. They had never seen such a shiny, bouncy toy before. The squirrels wanted that wonderful bubble all for themselves. They jumped from tree to tree, chasing it through the canopy. They tumbled and twirled, trying to catch it with their fluffy tails, but the bubble just bobbed and weaved out of their reach. Benny, inside his bubble, laughed so hard at their playful antics that he almost forgot to be worried. Their furry faces peeking through the leaves were just too funny. Then, Benny spotted something amazing up ahead, a huge, twisty slide winding its way down through the forest. It wasn't just any slide. It was made of sparkling rainbow vines. A brand new idea popped into Benny's head. He thought, maybe I can turn this bubble into a ride. With a little wiggle and a hop, Benny steered his bubble right towards the top of the vine slide. Down, down, down he went. He spun faster and faster, giggling and cheering as the world turned into a blur of green and rainbow colors. It was the most exciting ride of his life. The bubble slid all the way to the bottom and then Splash! It landed gently in a sparkling, crystal clear pond. But wait, Benny wasn't wet at all. The bubble hadn't popped. Instead, it had magically turned into a water bubble and was now floating gracefully on the pond's surface like a little personal boat. And guess what? Seeing how much fun Benny was having, all the forest animals wanted to join in. The squirrels, the birds, and even Mr. Snail came sliding down on big green leaves. Soon, the entire pond was full of happy giggles, gentle splashes, and dozens of smaller bubbles floating everywhere. It was a bubble party. After hours of fun and laughter, Benny looked up and saw the sun beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. He realized it was time to go home. He patted the side of his bubble gently and whispered a little thank you. Even though he knew it couldn't speak, as if it understood, the bubble slowly lifted out of the water. It floated up above the Wiggly Woods and drifted gently back towards Giggleton, carrying Benny safely home. He landed softly as a feather right in the middle of the village square where all his friends were waiting to greet him. They all cheered for his amazing adventure. As his paws touched the ground, the great bubble finally popped, not with a loud bang, but with a gentle sigh, releasing a magical mist of rainbow colors that sparkled in the evening air. From that day on, Benny became Giggleton's official bubble wizard. Every week, he would treat the entire village to a magnificent bubble show. He blew giant bubbles that everyone could float in, tiny bubbles that tickled their noses, and rainbow bubbles that made the whole world sparkle. And even though some of his bubbles still popped in funny and silly ways, Benny always knew that a little bit of bubble magic was all it took to make the whole world happy. And so, Benny the Bunny and his magical bubbles brought joy and laughter to Giggleton forever and ever. And if you ever see a big, sparkling bubble floating by on a sunny day, look closely. Maybe, just maybe, it's Benny, inviting you to come and join the fun. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more amazing stories.